the Evolutionary Playboy Podcast. Today, we're going to talk about a subject that many women probably won't like, but it's definitely a discussion that needs to be had. Are men abandoning their children, or are they getting away from a woman that's trying to control them with the child? Now, I've heard the argument over and over again. You don't want children, don't have unprotected sex. This is a valid point. But where the problem comes into play is after you both make that decision to have unprotected sex. Once penetration happens, all the rest of the decisions are up to the woman. The man has no say so. And I can bank on knowing that if men had a say so, it definitely wouldn't be. I say 75% of fatherless children would not exist because men would not want a child birthed that they did not want to be responsible for. But the women make the decisions. You guys give birth to these fatherless children. Men don't have children. It's a choice that women have made. Yes, men shared the agreement in having unprotected sex. That was the only shared agreement. Everything else was done strictly from what the woman wanted to do. And I just don't think it's right to always throw that term out, deadbeat dad, fatherless children, when a lot of times, even if the man didn't want the child, he tries to be there. But you have some women that make it hard because the reality is she had that child because she wanted to use that child as a pawn. She may have wanted to hope to have that child and maybe it could change his mind on how he views me. You know what I mean? Maybe it can change his mind on wanting me, wanting to be a family. But it doesn't work. Because one thing about a man is you can't force a man to feel shit. You can't trick a man into feeling something. You can trap a man into having a responsibility. You can do that. But to feel, a man feels what he wants to feel. And if he's not feeling you, having a child is definitely not going to make him feel anything closer to wanting to deal with you. It's going to do the opposite, actually. I mean, statistics show. And I'm not here to judge whatever anybody's decision is. But I think since equality is such a big topic today, that there needs to be some equality when it comes to these children. Okay? Because there are a lot of children out here that are suffering, growing up in poverty when they didn't have to be that way. After penetration, there are several options a woman can use. Morning after pill. The other thing that I don't want to say on this platform, and it's just funny to me that you have so many women that get religious after they get pregnant. All of a sudden, I'm against abortions. You weren't thinking that when you were having sex unprotected, though. From my knowledge, women that are against abortions, they're not even having premarital sex. But these children ultimately suffer because when you force a man to do something, he resents it. And a lot of times the child is resented. And then the women come and say, it's not the child's fault, but you made this happen, young lady. If this man had the equal rights to what to do, it would be no child suffering. But these children grow up and they grow up in these bitter households because the mom, a lot of times, didn't get things to work out the way she wanted to because she didn't plan right. She had a game plan and that plan fell through. So now she's stuck with this situation. She's stuck having to raise this child alone. Even when the guy's on child support, you have that child 24 hours a day. You do. And you have to deal with it. So what ends up happening a lot of times is the mothers become resentful, hateful, bitter. And that child has to ingest all that toxicity. That child grows up with a perception of his father. May be true, may be false. But you don't even give that child a right to figure it out on his own. He's growing up with hate for somebody he's never even met sometimes. And it can be all a lie. You could have kept that child away from the father. Or it could have been a situation where the father just didn't want to be involved. And again, I'm not here to judge what people do. But the thing that you don't realize is when you force a man into a situation, a lot of times he wants nothing to do with anything that has to do with you, including that child. It's not fair, but we're not going to get on all the things that's not fair. It's a lot of good women out there. And there's a lot of good men out there. But there's some women that aren't so good. And as much as women like to say that there's a lot of bad guys out there, baby daddies, statistically, I think 75% of single mothers are impregnated by only 18% of men. And we're talking black men and women. So it seems like the real question is, why are there so many irresponsible single mothers out there that keep having babies by these men who already have babies that they don't take care of? That's what's crazy to me. 18% of black men are responsible for 70-something% of single mothers out there. So you guys knowingly have unprotected sex with men who already have children that they don't take care of. And then what's cold and what pisses me off, what really pisses me off is when you try to trap a good dude just because he's a good dude. Just because you think that's the type of guy you want to be the father of your child. And sometimes they don't find out till years later it's not their child. Or for the ones where it is their child and you knew they didn't want nothing to do with you, you have a child anyway and try to force yourself into their life. I have a problem with that shit. I resent that shit. No accountability when it comes to women and children. But men, you'll garnish their paychecks. You'll make them lose their license to where they can't even go to work. And then the baby looking dirty, not dressed, but you on social media showing off your new Fashion Nova outfits, eating at the Cheesecake Factory like that's good eating. Come on, man. Real women don't play games like that. A real woman, if she makes a mistake and has a baby with a dude that doesn't want to be there, she womans up and she handles her business as a woman and takes care of the child she decided to bring to this earth. Now, let's be real. You as a woman decided to have the child. So I respect those type of single mothers. And I'm not saying that, there aren't dudes out here that play games and they're just lazy and don't want to do their job. But a large portion of these guys aren't bad guys. They just met some bad women. And unfortunately, the system is set up to incentivize this type of behavior with women. Can you really think that the system cares about your child, though you run to that system? Because that's the truth. Those women have children and they look at the system as their baby daddy. The government is their baby daddy. That's guaranteed money. But how can you say that a system is for your child when that money you get from that man, they take a percentage out of? Make that make sense. Just, I, I don't understand this type of behavior. You have these children and then you want to complain about all the fatherless children when you weren't even with the guy when you were pregnant. So you think having a child is going to make him want to be with you? The statistics show how that works. And then the guy moves on. Say he's paying child support. He moves on. He has his family. He's living his own life at peace, and you want to bring problems. You mad because his chick looked better than you. She got chose. Now you want to take it out on the child. Abuse a child. Keep the child away. Or whatever the case may be. Be accountable for the choices you make and stop making choices expecting other people to pick up the bill. You want equality? Handle your business. To all the men that have to deal with this, I hope that God takes care of you and gives you peace. To all the women that are causing this, I hope God gives you peace so you can stop creating these problems for people. And then all these F-boys that you complain about, who do you think are creating them? Bitter baby mamas are creating the future F-boys because they grow up with all this feminine energy because they around you all day, absorbing all your negativity. And then you wonder why you can't keep nobody. For one, you played yourself. That's the biggest thing. You played yourself because now a lot of guys don't want a woman that has a child to build something with. They want to build their own. Now you sitting there with a baby and you cutting off a big majority of single men. And again, remember, 51% of black men are single and childless and make, what do you call it? They make middle class income. So you cutting your own foot off to prove a point that is dumb. All the good women out there, all the good men out there, stay blessed. All the problem makers, I hope that God gives you peace so you can just do the right thing. Stop adding to this nonsense because you guys are birthing these children. There's nothing that you can do to make a man want you if he doesn't want you. Nothing. Sex can't keep a man. A baby definitely can't keep a man. If you want to run a man away, have a baby that he doesn't want. And yes, most men will be responsible financially. But just imagine that, how that feels. To have to be working and forced to give your money away for a situation that you did not agree on. And yes, all you can do is revert back to, well, you shouldn't have had unprotected sex. Well, damn. You shouldn't have been so dumb. And now you sitting there stuck, angry when you yourself made that choice. I hope somebody listening could think about this and not add to this horrible number of children out here that are growing up in poverty because these women made decisions and they couldn't keep up with the decision they made. Now, not only are they suffering, but now a child has to suffer. Higher likeliness to not succeed, higher likeliness to not finish school, higher likeliness to be on drugs, higher likeliness to have mental issues, higher likeliness to join a gang, higher likeliness to be involved in criminal activity. And for the women, a very high likeliness of children as a teen. Come on, man. You got to do better. It's ridiculous. Men are always held accountable by law. You guys need to be held accountable too. I'm out.